Among the sectors and stocks that have been doing very well for the past few weeks have been the cement stocks, especially the south-based ones. After years of sluggishness in their prices, cement prices in the south have perked up in the past couple of weeks by 30% actually in the state of Andhra itself. To talk about these and other issues, we invite the biggest player in the South Indian market, India Cements. Joining us is Mr. N. Srinivasan, Vice Chairman and Managing Director of India Cements. Good morning, Mr. Srinivasan. It's a rare opportunity to be able to speak to you. First, can you size up the southern market for us itself, in particular the state of Andhra Pradesh? Are you seeing an improved demand? We saw a sharp hike in prices.
Good morning. Actually, it is the expectation of improved demand because the last few years have been very sluggish. Growth in the south has been practically nil or slightly negative. In fact, growth in the country has been flat the last 2 years, and even prior to that it was just a few percent increase year on year, compared to about 10 to 12% compound that was growing prior to 2009. So as a result, in the last few years, and capacity has been created on the basis that demand would grow at 12%, So when this mismatch took place, prices softened. But now the expectation is very high, and particularly with bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh, and naturally there is going to be a lot more construction, and two new governments who are committed to growth, and with the center also committed to reviving the economy and growth. We expect that in a few months, definitely, the demand will start to perk up, and which in turn would lead to better prices. In fact, this is what is taking place now is a kind of a correction of prices.
Mr. Srinivasan, good morning. So in the areas that India Cements operates in, how much have prices gone up by, and what do you think could be a sustainable cement price movement in the next, say, 3 to 6 months?
See, that is difficult to say. All I can say, in all the markets in which we are operating, prices have gone up. And they've gone up reasonably well, by at least from 20, 30 rupees a bag upwards. But the sustainability will be on the back of good demand, which we are expecting. You see, that is the growth in demand, which has not taken place in the last so many years, because I think in a sense there has been a neglect of the economy. I think with focus back on the economy, see, after all, this country was growing at 10 to 12% compound for such a long time. To take the history of the cement industry for the last 20, 30 years, it has grown at that rate. So why should it not, if there is focus back on the cement industry, on the economy itself?
Okay. Well, let's tackle more specific events with your company itself. You're going to merge Trinetra Cements with yourself, and you're also planning to sell some land or develop some land. Can you take us through both these? At what valuation will that be merged? What will it do to your sales and your margins?
I think the valuation is already in the marketplace. See, Trinetra, we just want to consolidate all the cement capacity. And Trinetra will also give us a good balance, because the north is doing better than the south.
What's your total volume then?
Now, the volume of Trinetra is about 1.5 million tons per annum. It will add another 1.5 million tons to us. And as far as the land is concerned, basically we had made a statement earlier that we will look to monetize non-core assets, etc. So it is only in that regard, in that respect, this is being examined. And it is just good corporate governance.
What is the excess land you have? We were told 1,000 crores. Would that be the total value, or would it be more?
No, it is difficult for me to give you a figure now, except that we have substantial, we have a very big land bank.
Actually,
accumulated over the last 60 years,
Sure. Your stock too has risen in anticipation of debt reduction on the back of, impending monetization of assets. So, can you give us any kind of ballpark figure on how much your debt could be brought down to from this current 3,000 crores that you're sitting on?
No, that I'm not in a position to give you specific numbers now. But our thinking is on those lines.
But you will sell land. You're not looking at development, or you're giving over the land to your real estate venture.
It's a question not just, we will we said that we will look at what businesses we should be in, what is not core to us, whether we should retain it, sell it, or develop land. I mean, these are all options that we have. But primarily now, at the moment, I think we are gearing up to increase our production based upon the anticipated improvement in demand, which I think is our core business, which is where our focus should be immediately.
Oh, really? What are your capacity utilization levels, Mr. Srinivasan?
See, we have been, if you take the country as a whole, I think it operated around 70% last year. And in the south, it was lower. But we operated around 70-71%. We would like to improve the capacity utilization.
Okay.
But you spoke about capex, no? I mean, what are the capex plans?
No, we don't have to invest in, we just have to operate at higher levels. Because, you see, because of sluggish demand, we could not operate our plants at full capacity.
No, I thought you spoke about capex. You're not looking at capacity expansion.
No, we are not increasing. I said capacity utilization.
Utilize only, all right.
Okay. So, how much could your volumes go up by in FY15? I mean, I'm just trying to understand what the recovery path could look like. I think in FY14, you did sales volumes of around 10 million tons.
We will get a better assessment 3 months down the line after the new government sets in and after, that we see signs of increased demand. That will enable us to be clearer on what is the increase in capacity utilization that we can expect.
Mr. Srinivasan, you can give us a good indication of what the situation is on the ground. Are you seeing any pickup in mining activity at all? I mean, the commercial vehicle sector, experts or people that we speak to indicate that there is no real recovery on the ground just yet. What's the sense that you're getting?
See, you cannot expect recovery on the ground 10 days after a new government comes in. That is why I said we'll wait for 1 quarter. Then we'll see clear indications of the steps being taken and what is taking place on the ground.
It's a deficit.
I think we have to wait a quarter.
It's a government that starts with a deficit, Mr. Srinivasan, Andhra, and they have imposed on themselves a huge debt burden if they go ahead with the loan waiver. Are you really confident they'll be able to, invest anything at all in infrastructure immediately?
See, they have to build a new capital, isn't it? See, the expectation of the people is, both in Telangana as well as in Andhra Pradesh, there is going to be heavy investment in infrastructure. Now, if you ask me specifics of how they will fund it, that, I'm not the expert for that. But
well, fair enough.
But they do need, but the TDP has, the political parties have said, and in fact the ruling party in Andhra Pradesh, Andhra, has to build a new capital, and that is a massive investment.
Fair point. So just coming back to your numbers, you all swung into loss in the last quarter. When do you see yourself coming back into the black?
See, that is very price sensitive, I don't know if I can really answer that. All I can say is
you can give us a broad direction, whether it is a one-off quarter or do you think there will be a couple of quarters of red?
You see, cement is a long-term story. We have been in cement business for more than 65 years. We'll be around for another 65. Cement is still the building material. We have so much of limestone. Question of 1 quarter, 2 quarters is irrelevant in the long term. If you take the next 3 to 4 years, I think one is very bullish on cement, because I think with improvement in demand, the capacity utilization will rise to substantially, and in turn reflect in the profitability. And with prices picking up now, if these prices sustain, definitely we'll be in the black very quickly.
Okay. So can we safely say that your margins in Q4 at 10%, which were at a 3-year low, that's the worst that India Cements has seen, and now it will get better from here?
Hopefully.
Okay.
At least can you broadly give us a direction whether this year your debt will be lower?
Yes, I think that is our thinking now, that this year we should reduce our debt.
Okay, and that will be through sale of land?
Pardon?
Will that be through sale of land?
Not necessarily. I think it is not. I can't go into specifics now, but I can tell you directionally that is what we will be doing. We are looking at reducing debt. We are expecting improved margins. We are expecting that the price recovery will sustain.
Okay. Just one final comment, since you have been talking about the price recovery sustaining. The issue in the southern Indian market has been a lot about the huge oversupply. So despite repeated attempts to increase the prices, they were not sustainable because of the oversupply issue. Do you think that has become a thing of the past?
To some extent, because ultimately, you see, you cannot sell cement below your production cost. So whether it is, so what happens is volume might get hit, which is what happened earlier. Even for us, we operated at 70%. We'd love to operate at 90%, but the market will not take it.
Okay.
Hopefully, as I said, that going forward, over the next year, demand will pick up and you will see better utilization.
All right, Mr. Srinivasan, we leave it at that. Thank you for taking the time out and speaking with us and giving us the ground check on what's actually happening in the southern Indian market. So as you heard, the demand growth has been subdued for many years, but from one of the biggest players, or in fact the biggest player in the southern Indian market, things have gotten much better.